The kitchen smelled like burnt coffee and something floral I couldn't name. The fluorescent light over the sink hummed in that specific frequency that makes your jaw tense without knowing why. I stood at the counter, hands flat against the laminate, watching the clock above the stove tick forward. It was 7:18 on a Thursday morning in October, and my wife was standing 5 feet behind me, holding her phone like it was evidence. "Robert, we need to talk." I turned. She wasn't crying. Her face had that smooth, prepared quality people get when they've rehearsed something difficult. She set the phone down on the table, screen side up, deliberate. "I've been thinking about this for months," she said. "I want a divorce." My heart didn't race. It stopped, just for a second, like a door slamming shut in an empty house. I didn't ask why. I already knew the shape of it, even if I didn't have the details yet. "You're 52 years old, Robert," she continued, her voice steady, almost clinical. "You're too old to start over. This house, our retirement accounts, the life we built. You need me. Without me, you're just another middle-aged man trying to figure out what went wrong." I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I watched her adjust the collar of her blouse, the same casual gesture she'd made 1,000 times before. She thought she was being kind. She thought she was stating facts. "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay? I'll call an attorney Monday." The surprise on her face lasted only a moment before she nodded, satisfied, like I'd just confirmed what she already believed. That I was manageable, predictable, too tired to fight. She had no idea what she'd set in motion. "My name is Robert Chen. I was 52 years old, and I'd been married to Vanessa for 19 years. On paper, our life looked stable. I worked in supply chain management for a mid-sized manufacturing firm. Nothing glamorous, but steady. Vanessa taught high school English. We had a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood, 2 cars, a 401k, and a vacation fund we never seemed to use. For years, I thought stability meant success. I thought if I kept things running smoothly, if I handled the logistics and paid the bills and didn't complain, everything would balance out. Vanessa made the social decisions. She chose our friends, planned our weekends, decided when we needed new furniture or when to repaint the living room. I showed up. I nodded. I paid. There were small moments I should have noticed. The way she'd talk over me at dinner parties, redirecting conversations before I finished my sentences. The way she'd sigh when I suggested a movie or a restaurant, as if my preferences were inconvenient. Once at her sister's birthday, I mentioned wanting to take a woodworking class, and she laughed, not cruelly, but dismissively, and said, "Robert's always had these little hobbies he never follows through on." I didn't correct her. I let it go. I let a lot go. The morning after she asked for the divorce, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, reviewing our joint accounts. Vanessa had already left for work. The house felt different without her in it, like a stage set with the lights turned off. I made a list. Bank statements, credit card bills, mortgage documents, insurance policies. I wasn't frantic. I was methodical. At 10:47 a.m., I called an attorney a colleague had recommended. Her name was Patricia Nguyen. She listened without interrupting as I explained the situation in 3 sentences. "How long have you been married?" she asked. 19 years. "Any children?" "No." "Any joint assets?" "Everything." There was a pause on the line. "Mr. Chen, I need you to do something for me today. Go to your bank. Open a separate account in your name only. Transfer exactly half of your joint checking into it. Don't take more, don't take less. Do it before 5 p.m. I did it at 2:14 p.m. The teller was a young woman with a name tag that said Jessica. She processed the transfer without comment, handed me a receipt, and wished me a good afternoon. I folded the receipt into my wallet and drove home. That night, Vanessa came home late. She didn't mention the divorce. She microwaved leftovers, scrolled through her phone at the table, and went upstairs to watch TV in the bedroom. I stayed downstairs, organizing files on my laptop. Around 11, my phone buzzed. A text from her. "We should keep this civil. No need for lawyers to get rich off us." I screenshotted it. I didn't reply. The next morning, I moved into a short-term rental studio apartment 3 miles from the house. It was small, clean, furnished with basics. The walls were beige. There was a window overlooking a parking lot. I unpacked one suitcase. I set up my laptop on the kitchen counter. I made coffee in a French press I'd bought at a thrift store on the way over. Silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. Patricia and I met the following Tuesday at her office downtown. She was in her late 40s, sharp-eyed, with reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She slid a manila folder across the desk. "I need you to gather everything in this list," she said. "Tax returns, pay stubs, retirement account statements, property deeds, car titles, credit card statements for the last 3 years. Be thorough." "She's going to notice," I said. "Let her notice." I spent the next 2 weeks pulling documents from filing cabinets, scanning bank statements, downloading records from investment accounts. Vanessa called twice. The first time she asked when I was planning to stop being dramatic and come home. I told her I'd moved out to give us both space. The second time, she was angrier. "You took half the money, Robert. That's our emergency fund." "It's my half," I said. "You're being petty." I didn't respond. I hung up. I screenshotted the call log. At 4:02 p.m. on a Wednesday, my phone buzzed again. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Eric. Vanessa's upset. Whatever you're doing, just stop. She doesn't deserve this." Eric was her tennis partner. I'd met him twice at club events. I saved the message. I blocked the number. 2 days later, another text, this time from her sister. "Robert, I don't know what's going on, but you need to be reasonable. Vanessa is a wreck." I didn't reply. I took a screenshot. I turned off my phone and went for a walk. The air was cool, early November now, the kind of cold that makes you breathe deeper without realizing it. I walked through a neighborhood I didn't know, past houses with porch lights on and carved pumpkins rotting on steps. I thought about the last time Vanessa and I had gone for a walk together. I couldn't remember. Something inside me had gone quiet. Not broken, just quiet. Patricia called me the next morning. "We need to talk about retirement accounts," she said. "Did you know Vanessa has a separate IRA she opened 4 years ago?" "No. She's been contributing to it from her salary. It's substantial. And it's not listed on any of the joint financial disclosures she gave us." I sat down. "How substantial?" $160,000. I checked the time. 9:22 a.m. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means she's been planning this longer than she told you." I felt my chest tighten, not with anger, but with clarity. The pieces were assembling themselves. The careful comments about my age, the dismissal of my preferences, the suggestion we didn't need lawyers. She'd thought she could manage me. She'd thought I'd be too tired, too passive, too old to fight back. She was wrong. 3 weeks later, I received a formal settlement offer from Vanessa's attorney. It was delivered via email at 6:47 p.m. on a Friday. The terms were simple. I'd take the house, she'd take the retirement accounts. She'd waive spousal support if I waived it too. The cars would be split evenly. I read it twice. Then I forwarded it to Patricia without comment. She called me within 10 minutes. "This is insulting," she said. "She's trying to keep the hidden IRA and still claim half the joint retirement. She thinks you don't know." "What do? We file, we depose her, we show her we have the records." I felt something shift inside me, a door opening that I hadn't known was locked. "Do it," I said. The deposition was scheduled for early December, in a conference room downtown with pale gray walls and a long table that reflected the overhead lights. Vanessa arrived with her attorney, a man in his 60s with silver hair and an expensive watch. She looked smaller than I remembered, her shoulders tight, her hands folded in her lap. Patricia placed a folder on the table between us. She didn't open it yet. She asked Vanessa a series of baseline questions. Name, address, employment history. Vanessa answered calmly, her voice steady. Then Patricia slid a single sheet of paper across the table. Do you recognize this account number? Vanessa glanced at it. Her face didn't change, but her fingers twitched. That's my personal retirement account. And when did you open it? I'm not sure, a few years ago. 4 years ago, Patricia said. August 2019, correct? Vanessa's attorney leaned over, read the document, and I watched his expression tighten. And how much is currently in this account? Patricia asked. Vanessa didn't answer immediately. She looked at her attorney. He nodded. Around 160,000, she said quietly. And did you disclose this account in your initial financial statements? I don't recall. Patricia opened the folder. She removed a second sheet, placed it down with precision. This is your disclosure form, dated 3 weeks ago. This account is not listed. The room went silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Vanessa's attorney shifted in his seat. Vanessa stared at the paper like it was something foreign. Mrs. Chen, Patricia continued, her voice measured, did you tell your husband he was too old to start over? Vanessa looked up at me for the first time. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't cry. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I meant, she stopped. Her hands opened, closed. I meant we'd been together so long. I didn't think he'd want to go through all this. Patricia leaned back. You didn't think he'd fight? Vanessa's jaw tightened. She didn't answer. I spoke for the first time since the deposition started. My voice was calm, quieter than I expected. You chose who mattered when you opened that account without telling me. She flinched. Not dramatically, just a small, involuntary movement, like I'd touched something raw. Her attorney cleared his throat. We'd like to request a recess. Patricia glanced at me. I nodded. 20 minutes, she said. I stood and walked out of the room. I didn't wait to see if Vanessa followed. I took the elevator down to the lobby, stepped outside into the cold December air, and breathed. My chest didn't feel tight anymore. It felt unburdened. The settlement came 2 weeks later. Revised terms, equal split of all retirement accounts, including the hidden IRA. I kept the house, she kept her car. No spousal support on either side. Clean, fair, final. I signed the papers in Patricia's office on a Tuesday morning. She handed me a copy, shook my hand. You did well, she said. I just stopped pretending, I said. 6 months later, I was sitting on the front porch of the house, drinking coffee and watching the neighbor's dog chase squirrels, when a car pulled into the driveway. I recognized it before the door opened. Vanessa stepped out slowly, like she was approaching something fragile. I didn't stand, I just waited. She walked up the steps, stopped at the bottom. Her face was different, thinner, tired. Can we talk? She asked. About what? I made a mistake, Robert. Her voice cracked. I thought I wanted something different. I thought you'd just accept it. Let me go. But you didn't. I set my coffee down on the arm of the chair. You were right, she continued. I was planning it. The account, the timing, everything. I thought if I made you feel small enough, you wouldn't fight. But you didn't get small. You got clear. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. It was the first time I'd seen her cry in years. I don't want you back, she said quietly. I just needed you to know I was wrong. About you. About what you could do. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel anger. I felt something close to pity. Not cruel pity, but the kind you feel when you see someone lose something they didn't know they valued. I appreciate you saying that, I said. She nodded, started to turn, then stopped. Are you okay? I'm better than okay, I said. I'm steady. She got back in her car. I watched her drive away. When the sound of the engine faded, I picked up my coffee, still warm, and took another sip. The morning light was soft through the trees. The air smelled like cut grass and something floral I still couldn't name. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt clean. Later that week, I enrolled in a woodworking class at the community college. The instructor was a man in his 70s with gnarled hands and a patient smile. On the first day, he told us, "It's never too late to build something that lasts." I thought about Vanessa's words, "too old to start over." I thought about the hidden account, the careful planning, the assumption that I'd be manageable. I thought about the moment I slid half the money into my own account, the moment I hired Patricia, the moment I stopped explaining myself. Silence isn't surrender. Sometimes it's preparation. If you had been in my place, would you have fought or would you have walked away quietly? Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. Your presence means more than you know. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe. Let's keep walking this road together.